Hey, Trojan fans, welcome back to another Tune In Trojans broadcast. Homecoming week is over, and we have a lot to talk about. We are going to be talking with the football team today. We're going to be talking with the cross country team as well as the volleyball team. We're going to be getting some recaps on how homecoming went for each of these teams and some of the events that went on during homecoming as well. So, to kick off this week's broadcast, let's take a look at some great clips from our football game against Iowa Wesleyan University.
Far one to the near. Vitale in the shotgun, Ortman behind him. And pressure being brought by the Tigers, but not enough. Ortman, stiff arms, runs up to 40, got a blocker out there, 30, 20, gets up the sideline, 10, tackle inside the 5. Big run there by the running back Ortman, setting them up with first and goal inside the Case IH red zone. To snap, fakes a handoff, finds his man over the middle, and picked off at the 30, runs it up, and he's about to trip, and he ships short of the 40, bounced off the helmet there of the defensive back.
Hey, Trojan fans, I am joined by head football coach Josh Anderson. The Trojans this past weekend had a great matchup for homecoming against Iowa Wesleyan University. Coach, from an offensive standpoint, what were you happy to see accomplished in this game?
Well, there was a lot of good things that were going on. Iowa Wesleyan's arguably one of the tougher defenses with just their speed, their size, and their ability. So I was really pleased with how we handled them up front throughout the game. We didn't start the game off or the half very good. They were dicing through our offensive line and shutting us down, and so we just had to stay the course. And I was really pleased with my offensive staff as far as not switching up the game plan, just sticking with what we believed in. And it ended up working out. We ended up wearing them down a little bit. So being able to run the ball and to get 19 first downs on the offensive side of the ball to keep their prolific offense off the field was a major key to the success in our win. And obviously, those first downs, they lead to points somehow, some way, whether they're field goals or touchdowns. So just really pleased with our ability to run the ball, especially when we had that big wind going on this week. And so that made it tough to throw the ball, and we had to have a running game. So our offensive receivers, for the first time this year, I thought really stepped up and did a great job of continuing to help the play develop down the field if we were able to break tackles and get loose, and we were able to do that a couple times. So everyone was helping out in the blocking scheme. The running game was there, and we were able to get those first downs.
Awesome, that's great. And what were some aspects of this game that you did not think were going to happen, but kind of showed their face a little bit?
Honestly, the ability of our defense to be able to shut down their passing game. They've been really lighting up the stats, throwing the ball, and when they had the wind at their back, they didn't throw it, and our defense did a great job of getting to their quarterback, and we had a bunch of sacks, and we had some interceptions and some turnovers, and the previous two games, we just got torched through the air. Our secondary was always in really good spots. There's a couple of breakdowns here and there from game to game or from play to play, but a lot of times our guys were all over the receiver, and they just made big plays and big catches, and we were giving up a lot of yards in the air. So I was extremely nervous, to say the least, coming into this game with Iowa Wesleyan, because that's what they live and die off of. They're very, very, very athletic receivers, a really good quarterback, and we were able to put a game plan together to shut them down. I was very pleased with Coach Sensabaugh, our entire defense, and how they handled themselves.
That's great. And now you guys are going to be playing Dickinson State next, if I'm correct. What are some things you're looking to accomplish as a team against Dickinson?
A team with Dickinson is just very, very disciplined. They do everything right. They're always where they need to be. They never quit. They never give up. They absolutely fly to the ball on defense, and they're just extremely sound on offense, honestly, in everything that they do. So the biggest thing, in order to have any kind of success with Dickinson, is you just can't turn the ball over, and you got to win the field position, and you got to be able to kill the clock and maybe sneak a big play in here and there on them, which is very difficult to do, and you just can't get in your own way. That's the biggest thing with Dickinson. They just they do things right. They do things very aggressive, and they wait for you to make a mistake, and then they capitalize on it. So we just can't have the turnovers, and we've got to continue to get first downs and flip the field when we need to. We've got a really good punter, really good kicker. Got to put him in position to help us put some points on the board or flip the field. So the biggest things with Dickinson is just winning the turnover battle, winning the field position battle, and the time of possession.
For sure. Well, thanks again, Coach, for coming in and giving us this update. We were so happy to see you guys have a successful win against Iowa Wesleyan University this past week. And we're excited to see you guys take on Dickinson State next.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks again for having me.
Up next, we have an interview with Coach Veenhoff post Mayville State match that happened last week, where the Trojans went 3-0. Let's hear what she had to say.
It was really nice that we were actually at home for homecoming because we don't always get to play at home. And we took care of business last night against Presentation. We won in 4, which was good. Overall, the girls played really well, and it was a good team effort. And then tonight, we came out really ready to play, and we're super aggressive and hit the ball really well offensively, and then defensively too. We only allowed them to hit 0.83, so defensively it was a great effort too on both sides of the ball. It was a great homecoming matches for us. I would say Cindy Shell yesterday and today did a fantastic job offensively. She led us in kills, I think, both matches. And then defensively too, she did a really good job in the back row digging the ball. So just overall, her play was really good. Peyton Groff, she's our libero. She did a really good job defensively for us and in serve receive and serving. She got her 2000th career dig, so that was a big deal. And then Hannah Viet, I can't forget Hannah because Hannah played out of her mind yesterday on the net. Blocking, she set a school record and had 11 blocks in a match, which was amazing. She had broke, I think, the record she tied last year. So she did really well too. But overall, it was just I would say, an overall good team effort. We had a lot of good plays from a lot of different people, which was awesome.
Hey, Trojan fans, I am joined by head cross country and track coach Anthony Dreeland. The Trojans recently traveled to St. Paul, Minnesota to compete in the Roy Griak Invitational. It was pretty rainy this past weekend for you guys, Coach. How did that fare for you guys while you were competing?
Uh, without fail, we go up there the day before and we run the course and see the course, especially for all the freshmen, and just get a sense of what it's going to look like and all that good stuff. And it's always beautiful. Thursday, it was like 65 degrees, sunny, no clouds in the sky. And Coach Taylor Hauge said, the meet should be today because tomorrow's going to be less than perfect. And so we arrived at the meet on Friday, and within 5 minutes of stepping off the bus, it started raining. So, but that's cross country. You got to deal with the conditions and the wet course and the soggy mess, and it's a fun experience. So just another aspect of our sport, and it's fun. So we dealt with it well.
For sure, for sure. And from that meet, what were some notable performances that happened for both your men's and women's team?
Yeah, from a global perspective, we ran our fastest team times up there since 2019. So that was a good mark, and that's kind of been our trend so far this season. Honestly, with comparisons in the past few years, so that was great to see. Just that we are in a good position as compared to the last few years as we head forth throughout the season, and of course, that's the sport is still dependent on the other schools in the conference and nationals and that sort of thing. But from that perspective, we felt really, really good about our progress and everything too. All that being said, there's more in the tank. There's more in our potential that we can accomplish this year. And so after the meet, I told the team, this was another good meet and another good step forward. But there's more that you can give, and there's more that's going to come with our training and racing and everything as well. So overall, really solid, and with the caveat that we can accomplish more this season. But on the women's side, starting there. Another good performance from our athletes. Lindsay Roth and Madeline Silva led us again. They've been our 1-2 runners all year, and Madeline actually passed Lindsay about 5,000 meters into the race, and so that was maybe she's going to be able to take the top spot. And they went back and forth, and Lindsay pulled out just ahead of her at the end. And so both of them as well as Brooke Bucher, our third runner, ran one of our top 30 best times for a 6,000 meter race, which the Roy Griak is, as opposed to our normal 5,000 meter race. So historically, that was pretty good as well. So they really led the way again, and just have been doing wonderfully as freshmen, and been doing a great job. And then on the men's side, Cody Farland led us again, and he's been our top runner all year. And he had a really solid performance. This meet is really competitive, and it's very easy to go out quick and to be aggressive through the first mile, and that's what a lot of our team did on both the men's and women's side. And some of them, it was very challenging the last 50% of the race, just because they were more aggressive than normal. But and there was some athletes that fell back a little bit more. But I told them that's what you're going to need to do as we get into the latter half of the season, to get the most out of yourself and to run to your potential. So Cody led the way again for us, and Martin Bailey was our second runner with another really good performance, as he's been kind of in that spot now. And the rest, from runners 3 through really 10, it's been a similar group of men, but it's really kind of fluctuated back and forth. We have a handful of men who've been in the top 7 all year, and then several others that's kind of interchanging. And so again, it's going to be very interesting to see how that progresses throughout the year. But the strength of our men's pack was our runners from 1 to 5. That spread was only about a minute, which is great. And if we can keep moving that whole pack forward, they're going to be really competitive. So a good day for us. It's a very competitive meet, and so that's always eye opening for some athletes. But it's great prep for nationals if we're fortunate enough to make it there.
For sure, and from personal experience, Roy Griak is definitely a fun meet to run at, so I'm sure your team had fun. Kind of speaking on the fact on championships, you guys have 2 more meets now before championships. So how is your team kind of looking and faring, and what are the last few things that you're looking to work on with your team before you guys head to Dickinson or North Dakota?
Yeah, we're looking good. The On the men's side, we've put ourselves in a position that we really have a lot of control over our success. I'd say, just with the depth of our squads, and that's not to say that other schools in the conference won't keep improving and really be a tough challenge. But we do look pretty good there. And then on the women's side, both Dickinson and Viterbo have been running really really well, and I'd say within the conference we're probably falling right behind them right now. And with the potential that I think we can make in our athletes, with our athletes, I think there's the potential to get up to that point. And so that will be really dependent on what we can do this last month of the season, racing wise and progressing wise, and everything too. And so really, when it comes down to it, and we never go into a race not ready to compete and do well, but these last few meets we should be a lot closer to our ultimate peak and be able to display that fitness, and really result in the fastest times of the year, as we had in these last regular 2 season races, and then our conference championships in Dickinson. The next 2 meets are really a vast difference in types of courses that we have been running, which will be a lot more conducive to fast times, a lot flatter, less hillier, and just good surfaces to run on. So that's always a confidence boost, when athletes see that progress. The weather gets cooler, which makes a big difference in your performance as well. The heat and humidity can, obviously impact you, just like altitude does. And so all of those factors are going to really, help our confidence grow as we, go into these last few meets. We have some of our more challenging workouts, in the next month ahead of us as well, to really try to get the most out of our abilities this season. But that being said, a lot of our good work is already done, and it's time to really display that in races. So it's about being number one, ready for race day in the next month, and of course doing our final preparation for conference.
For sure. Well, thank you for coming in again today, Coach, and talking to us and giving us a great update about the cross country team. The Trojans cross country team will be returning to action at the Holiday Inn Express Classic hosted by Dordt University on October 8th. So we'll be excited to hear how your team does competing at that meet. And until next time, Coach, take care and thanks again.
Thank you much.
Thank you for tuning in to another Tune In Trojans broadcast. If you are interested on staying up to date on upcoming games, matches, and events, make sure you check out our website at www.dsuathletics.com to stay updated on all upcoming things. And until next time, go Trojans.